Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning. Well, thank you for joining us today on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. This is truly the day that the Lord has made, so we shall rejoice and be very glad. And when we are glad, we get to do our works, we get to be accountable, we get to do great things together as an individual, as a group, as a nation of good people, great nation. This nation called Nigeria, that we shall prosper, we shall flourish. But then it's not just by willing and wishing, it is by doing. And of course, that is why we are here to discuss Nigeria every time, because this is a nation. We have no other nation than this nation. So issues bordering on development, on things that has to do with us, we usually talk about it with you, distinguished Nigerians and residents of this nation. And of course, social politics, economy, all of those things, agriculture, health, in as much is worth talking about. That's what we do here. Femi Joe is my name. We left last week and we said we will be back. Thank God we are back. When I mean we, Daniel is here. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Femi.
Yeah, I hope your weekend went well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hope you had a great weekend as well.
Yeah, a very good time it was, and we are back here.
Absolutely.
Do what we do there is Morning Spring o'clock.
All right. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning to you, distinguished viewers from all over the world. Thank you once again for joining us on Morning Spring. This is Western Spring Television. Daniel Emeka is my name. It's a beautiful day. It's a fresh week. It's a fresh start. But it's time to start a fresh journey, launching yourself into the week with so much expectation. It promises to be a great week. Rest assured that we are here to serve you the best of information, speaking truth to power. Here we talk about leadership, we talk about good governance, we talk about our nation, we talk about Nigeria, the Nigerian project, and how to make it work. We also try to proffer solutions to our problems by speaking with critical stakeholders. And that's what we do here every weekday on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Once again, thank you for joining us, and Daniel Emeka is my name. Promises to be a great week, promises to be a great show. You do not want to miss any part of it. And let me talking about Nigeria.
Right.
A lot has been happening in the political space,
yes,
especially when it comes to opposition politics in Nigeria. The PDP, for instance, we've been talking about the PDP a lot, which is supposed to be the biggest opposition party in Nigeria. But unfortunately, the PDP, that's the People's Democratic Party, has been bedeviled with a lot of challenges. It seems never-ending at this point. Recall that their national convention was slated for November 15 and 16 in Ibadan, that's Oyo State. But unfortunately, it has turned into it's facing legal contestations now. Some factions loyal to the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, has taken the matter to court, trying to stop that convention. But again, something else has happened. More interestingly, this time around is the National Secretary of the party, Senator Samuel Ayan, who has just petitioned the Department of State Services, the DSS, the Inspector General of Police, IGP, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on allegations that his signature was forged, forgery and cloning of his signature. So Senator Samuel Ayan is saying that he is not aware, he did not sign that document. So he's not in support of the National Convention, and is asking these bodies, DSS, IGP, and INEC to investigate that criminal act, claiming forgery and cloning of his signature. So much for PDP at this point.
Well, it's a case of big trouble in Little China, actually. And it's many persons will say, who exactly is after the soul of the PDP, actually? Because obviously, ordinarily one would say maybe they have beaten more than they can chew. In this case, I think it's beyond that, actually.
It's looking really messy.
It's ridiculous, actually. It's very ridiculous with what is happening to them. And one should know, with their state right now, I think they don't deserve that appellation of the biggest opposition party or something, or the leading opposition party. They are in a mess right now. In fact, there are some Nigerians who feel whoever is, because some feel this is just the handiwork of the opposition, actually, because you have Wike there to do whatever he wants. Wike has always been saying the PDP is his baby, because when nobody was there, he was the only one financing, actually carrying the party at some point, and that's the truth. That's the obvious truth, especially after the 2019 elections, when everybody decided the party, including Atiku Abubakar himself,
we left,
when he went back to Dubai, and everybody, the party was nowhere. That was the time the man took on the party and took it up, and now he's saying, some of you are coming back. No, this is my party, and he has dared them so many times. If you think he's the enemy, if you think he doesn't deserve to be part of that party, let him come, expel me, and the man has always been doing that. And some persons will say, it's better they leave this. Everybody will leave this party for Wiki. Just let him stay there. You go and form another party, because Ayo Fayose, a two-time governor of the PDP, who has always been there, actually has said that party is dead. Actually, it's just the way it is right now. And now when you see the national convention of that party, there's somebody, either in good faith or not, because many persons don't trust Sheyi Makinde and his antics, because they are not even sure. Is Sheyi doing this for PDP, or somebody is remoting Sheyi, remote controlling him to say this party, it must die? Because Sheyi Makinde worked for Achiwaju in the last election. Pulling on the party, biting it in different directions. I think they are hell-bent on
pulling down the party. So those within the
some
party.
People will say, if you think you love the PDP, if actually anybody loves anything, nobody loves anything. Politicians, love the party for what? Is it because for humanity? No, it's for whatever it is. And some of the remaining governors, some of us know, if I know that some of us know, some of them have said where they belong. They are in the party. But as far as 2027 is concerned, they get where they go work. So that's just the thing. Some are saying, leave this thing for Wiki and his people. Go and form another thing. Because as far as this umbrella party is concerned, the umbrella is torn, no handle, no nothing. In fact, rain is beating them, and it's a shame on all of them. And it speaks to whatever is left. The Guba, how many of them are remaining right now? Now the problem
governors in the
now
PDP.
That the national secretary, they are supposed to hold a convention, somebody is going to court. There are different court cases. There's a case of this thing was not hold. Yeah. Now you're saying
this one is the biggest, the national secretary.
His signature
exactly.
So the thing is, for some of the gubernatorial aspirants, especially first-time governors that in the PDP, and many of them that have ambition, apart from the Guba, in the different state of assemblies, National Assembly elections, this is one of the things that will make some people to stay cross-carpet because they are not sure.
Absolutely.
By the time is right, for Ademola Adeleke now, who will sign his forms? That's a big problem. He might say, I belong to the PDP. Who is even the secretary now?
We said it here when Ademola Adeleke started supporting Mr. President for 2027. And I said it doesn't look good. You belong to a party, you belong to PDP, and you are openly declaring your support.
Well, flip it over right now. Flip it over. In fact, that closure of I'm going to stay in the PDP belongs to the governor. But when you speak to some of the people who have some information, they will tell you, maybe this is not sure for the man.
Exactly.
Because now, if we obtain the form when the time is right, so we contest. So which of the secretary? An eve of the election, and Ude Okoye or Samuel Anya will come and say, the signature...
No, Ude Okoye himself has even resigned from the PDP.
Yeah, okay.
So it's now Samuel Anya.
Now, Samuel Anya will say, who signed your form? That form on your this thing is not...
someone will clone his signature again.
And then they put an interlocutory injunction, and then they say, wait 2 weeks. And then the time for the guy to refile is over. And then the guy will be left dry, and then it will be done. But I think Nigerians are tired of whatever is happening
absolutely.
with PDP. And they will just say, see, we have other things to talk about. It's a shame for all of them. They have ever used that party for platform, to be governors, to be senators, to be whatever, and they have left the party. Now, after almost, when did they leave party at the national level? In 2015. 10 years out of the party, and this is what has become of the party. And I think APC should take a cue as well. That one day, they will not always be there. That's the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, one day, you will not always be there. PDP promised 50 or 60. They used 16 and left.
Exactly.
And now, the APC has been in charge at the federal level for 10 years right now. We'll see, what will become of the party. But then, it's for democracy. Well, personally, and some persons, we agree to say, PDP, leave them. Let's talk about other things. And this is time for other parties as well. The ADC, those ones, we don't even know they are bearing. That's just the issues right now. But then, some of them, they are talking. The national secretary of the party, that's Shola, he say, Tinubu, he will lose 2027. We know where we happen. Talk about that in the course of the program. Of course, the Free Nnamdi Kanu
protest today in Abuja.
And Showore and his like have said, no court order, no security advisory, no nothing will stop them. They are going to go ahead. And the government is saying there is a court order. There will be punitive measure if actually you go against the court order. That's just the thing. And truly, there is a court order.
This is quite complicated. And here's how I mean. If there is a court order, how come they've not served Yele Showore? The last time he spoke, he said he has not been served. He said if they should serve him, that he's ready, that he has a team of 110 lawyers, to contest it. So now, Yele Showore wants to go on a protest in Abuja. And now the IGP is saying there's a court order which has not been served.
They said they're even marching to the villa.
Exactly. Now, they try to restrain. They are saying you shouldn't protest around Aso Villa and its environs. You shouldn't protest around the National Assembly complex. There should be no protest around the Force headquarters. No protest around, what's the name of this, Shehu Shagari Way. And no protest around Eagle Square. So these are all the key areas in Abuja. So they are trying to stop the protest. And Yele Showore is saying that these guys are not serious. If truly there's a court order, it should be served and it will be contested. But here's my point, Femi. If we are truly practicing democracy in Nigeria, every Nigerian should be free to protest. Why is this administration trying to stop people from, having peaceful protest? Okay, you can't tell people not to protest. It happens everywhere, in the United States, in the UK, everywhere. People should be free to express their grievances. If they want to protest, let them protest. And again, talking about Nnamdi Kanu, why is it taking the DSS so long? Up till now, they've not been able to bring any tangible proof against him in court. And you've been holding him. Mind you, he was kidnapped from Kenya and brought back to Nigeria. Some people saying he was extradited. We have not seen any evidence of that. So we believe, according to reports in the news, that he was actually taken from Kenya illegally and brought to Nigeria. But that's another story. Now you are holding the man. You have no evidence against him for no reason. You can't even access treatment. Now people want to protest and you are telling them not to. I think there's a thin line, Femi, between authoritarianism and dictatorship. Okay, if people are saying this democracy we are practicing is tilting towards authoritarianism, then the government should watch it. If people want to protest, let them protest as long as it is peaceful. Okay, there'll be a caveat there that once the protest gets rowdy, then definitely the police can come in. In fact, it is the responsibility of the police to protect the protesters. That is their responsibility, not to try to stop them.
And the same police are saying there is a court order. So obviously, it's safe to say they might not, because that means they don't have the cover of the police in this particular thing. And some will say, how about a case in which a protest will be, the intention will be very pure and noble, and the planning will be towards having a free, very peaceful protest. And then in the middle, the whole thing gets hijacked because some people want to prove a point that we told you this thing was going to end badly and everything will be rubbish to be. What's exactly his problem? We told you.
Possibility of being hijacked.
Hijacked, that's one thing.
And apart from that,
either by the people that are saying don't do it, or evil people that wants to, make an opportunity of the thing to wreak havoc. And the moment it's hijacked, windscreens will be slashed, people will be injured, shops will be looted, and guess where the fault will come back to? The proponents of that protest. That have been told don't do this. And it will now become very shameful and all of those things. But then the thing is, everybody should just know that there is posterity and history that is beckoning on everybody. Either the state instrument is being used to silence the people in the form of advisories and court orders, or the ones who even want to protest are doing it for a particular gain. It's all there. But then we have so much.
Absolutely. And again, Femi, apart from that, the current administration is jittery. Talking about the coup plot that was rumored. Recall that the Independence Day parade was cancelled. So apparently there was a report from Sahara reporters claiming that about 16 military officers led by Brigadier General were actually plotting a coup. So on the 30th of September, the federal
government has refuted.
Exactly. The DHQ, Department military headquarters, Department of Defense Headquarters, thank you. I've said yes, nothing like that. But again, so there were rumors that because of the coup, of course, those officers were picked up September 30. The Independence Parade was, cancelled as a result of fears. But Defense Headquarters, expectedly, you don't expect them to accept that. They said there is nothing like that. But here's one thing I'm trying to bring up, Femi. My fear, my biggest concern, greatest concern as a Nigerian is not even a coup. Yeah. Here's how I mean. A coup can actually be bloodless if we're planned and all that. But the major concern for this administration should be a revolution. Femi, when it comes to revolution, it's no longer the military involved. It's the people. It's everybody. When everybody gets fed up. Yeah. So that should be the greatest concern of this administration. The fact that people are crying out saying that Nigerians are hungry, Nigerians are frustrated. So a revolution is even worse than a coup because there is no such thing, Femi, as a bloodless revolution.
Well, it is what it is. And I think it's a big lesson to know that here, take feedbacks from the right sources, from the people directly, not even representative of the people, from the people themselves, so that you know what they think about you. But by the way, that was a Sahara Desert, and I think that's the only paper, reporters that did that to say all of those things. If I even saw it, okay, it was had to be cancelled because the plan was for when the gun salute is being held to him, that the president take him off and all of those things. The Defense Headquarters have said that's not happening. They are very loyal to democracy and, of course, doing what they have to do. But then another thing is, not just because Sahara reporters have said it, where are the proof? Actually, no audio, no video, no nothing. And it just been, nobody has been quoted, actually. It's just been sources. Of
course, if it's a coup, you don't expect to see any evidence.
I'm just saying, so it could be, and it may not be. And when you're talking about a coup, that's a serious crime. And
so no one can even own up to it.
Yeah, so that's a serious crime and allegation in which it builds more on the person saying it to prove it, actually, because you can't just say who wants to happen. Some persons have been picked up. No family of any persons have said they have picked them up. No, so but we wait to see. I'm talking about revolution.
No, the DHQ says some officers were arrested as a result of misconduct. That's what they said. So
of course, they're
not denying that.
So that's just not as a result of a coup.
Absolutely,
misconduct, and every now and then that happens. But then if that's a safe-facing word, we wait to see. And of course, talking about the revolution, no nation should get to that point, because we've seen some of it around in the world and it's happening, led by very young people.
Absolutely.
The one in Nepal or Madagascar or whatever, the places we've seen, it has been Gen Z leading.
Absolutely.
So, led. So these are some of the things. We're not calling for any of that, either for whoever revolution, but the government should know that they have a business and people are watching. And the moment they get very tired, the moment people feel I have nothing to lose, that's the worst part. I have nothing to lose. And, we should not get to that part. Either at the state government level, because when I'm talking about some of these things, we look at the federal only. If a revolution, something gets bad, God forbid it's this nation, no governor will be a governor. Okay, that's just the thing.
Absolutely.
You end SARS and some of his things, we knew how it played out. And, many of these big people could not sleep in their homes. That we pray we don't get to that part. Again, we take a quick break. When we return, the papers are a very interesting front pages of our dailies today. Stay with us.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as they break with fact and clarity? How entertaining do you want your entertainment news?
Shit, there can only be one African queen!
What about sport?
What a touch from Welbeck!
Piece of improvisation, instinctive thinking to help us.
Don't you want your sport analysis delivered by knowledgeable hosts? Top trending news served hot and juicy as the break. Western Spring Television, WSTV, your urban Yoruba channel for news.
Western Spring Television, ours it is.
In our lifetime, Nigeria has become a center for smuggling ivory and pangolin scales.
This is one of 2 Nesria holding facilities for seized wildlife
Containers
stockpile.
are coming from Nigeria.
As Africa's key transit hub.
Illegal trade in wildlife has caused the decline of many species.
But together, we can change this story. No longer will we tolerate wildlife trafficking. We're updating our laws, increased the penalties, and prosecuted more offenders.
Nigeria remains fully committed in the fight against wildlife crime, and we will continue to honor all international obligations to protect our biodiversity.
Together, we will protect our wildlife for future generations. Please report wildlife crime and say no to illegal bushmeat. Because protecting nature protects all of us.
All right, thank you for staying with us. We start the newspaper segment this morning with the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust newspaper, alleged coup plot, ex-governor under watch. With the rider, more officers picked. Alleged coup plot, ex-governor under watch, more officers picked. And below that, you have the picture of a journalist mourning the colleague killed in an Israeli strike in the Azawada city near Al-Baqta in the central Gaza on Sunday. And this is very unfortunate. You can see the car in which that happened, the bullet, and the strings of blood and all of those things. And it's very, very maddening, sad to know that even under the ceasefire agreement, this is still happening, because it's supposed to be like everybody standing down at the Gaza Strip. Now, there's still aggression in that place, and people still, even on both sides, and the narrative has been, oh, this one is not doing this, so I can do this. Some people have been blaming Netanyahu to say, you are putting all kind of narrative just because you just want to keep attacking the people. And he has not been allowing aides to come into that place as agreed, because he felt, the other camp has not been doing what they're supposed to do. But both sides, this is terrible.
Well, there's an agreement. I think both sides should just keep to that agreement.
Right.
Israel released hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Palestine, they released 20 life hostages, but the bodies of the deceased have not been released like they promised. Israel said one of the bodies released is not even an Israeli. So they're still having some cases. So I think both parties should just stick to the plan. They should stick to the agreements if truly they want peace. Otherwise, it will just be, like you said, it will just be an excuse for Israel to keep attacking them.
To keep, attacking. And Nnamdi Kanu, protesters, their police. Stay on the front page of the Daily Trust. PDP convention, Iowa alleged signature forgery. Here we go. And protest in U.S. over Trump's policies and how terrorists killed 6 soldiers in Borno ambush. How terrorists killed 6 soldiers in Borno ambush. Those are not the stories you want to hear. Unfortunately, it's been reported on the front page of the Daily Trust. That will be all.
And from the front page of the Daily Trust this morning, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper this morning, protesters defy security warning. Vow Villa March. Protesters defy security warning. Vow Villa March. And that's talking about the Free Nnamdi Kanu, hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest. The protesters have said they would go on with the protest. And it's today, 20th October 2025. We do hope that it is peaceful. We don't want to see any escalations at this time. And below that, we have a rider. Opposition parties back protests. 115 lawyers, medics to join rally today. Kanu's legal team fractured. Still talking about the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest. You can read up details of that story on page 2. So much for this protest, having 115 lawyers and medics to join the protest today. Away from that, still on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, on the top strip, okay, I think I'll leave that out. Away from that, moving on to other stories. FG backs DHQ as coup rumor sparks political firestorm. Federal government backs defense headquarters as coup rumor sparks political firestorm. You find details of that story on page 2. Talking about the coup rumor, some will say there's no smoke without a fire. You might want to read up details of that story on page 12 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And from the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, we just saw this morning that more officers have been picked in connection to this alleged coup plot. You might want to read up details on the pages of the newspapers this morning. Away from that, still on the front page of the Punch newspaper, PDP convention faces fresh setback over alleged signature forgery. PDP convention faces fresh setback over alleged signature forgery. You find details of that story on page 9. Recall that we said it here just before we started the newspaper review, how the PDP National Secretary, Senator Samuel Ayaun, has claimed, has petitioned the IGP, the DSS, and INEC on account of allegations of his signature being forged and cloned, and he wants that investigated. They said he's not aware of that convention. He didn't sign that letter. And he also included the evidence. I'm giving them a copy of that letter for reference purposes. You might want to read up details of that story on page 9 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Away from that, on the blue strip, Osinbajo leads ECOWAS team to monthly Côte d'Ivoire poll. Osinbajo leads ECOWAS team to monitor, Côte d'Ivoire poll. You find details of that story on page 9. He's leading the team to monitor polls in Côte d'Ivoire. Away from that, on the bottom strip, Senate to grill NCAA local airlines on safety breaches. Senate to grill NCAA local airlines on safety breaches. You'll find details of that story on page 26. Talking about NCAA, that's the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. They have questions to answer as far as the Senate is concerned. Questions relating to safety breaches by airlines. Away from that, gunmen shoot butcher. Gunmen shoot butcher dead in Lagos barracks market. I say that again. Gunmen shoot Lagos butcher dead in shoot butcher dead in Lagos barracks market. You find details of that story on pages 4 and 5. Tinubu hails ex-Punch MD Oshinobi at 70. Tinubu hails ex-Punch MD Oshinobi at 70. You find details of that story on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. And that'll be all from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning.
Okay, we move to the Nation newspaper. The Nation for today. PDP convention, Anya will protest forgery in letter to INEC. PDP convention, the Nation has it. Anya will protest forgery in letter to INEC. With riders, National Secretary seeks probe of suspected cloney, and battle rages in NWC over legal advisor. So it's not about the Secretary, it's about the legal advisor. It's about one issuing threats to the other, the chairman against the legal advisor. There was a time the publicity secretary, was alleged to have sacked the chairman. The chairman sacked,
Femi, it's quite unfortunate. It's quite interesting. Here's what happened. Two senior advocates of Nigeria in court, were claiming to be the, authentic representative of the party. Two SANs in court. It doesn't make sense. This one is saying, no, I'm the one in charge. I'm the one representing the party. And this one is saying, I'm the one representing. So two SANs.
And I think that what they have to do is to check who filed, who filed that particular brief, and let them bring out which counsel. But it's just a shame, actually. That's what it is. And below that, you have the picture of International Monetary Fund Managing Director, Ms. Kristalina Georgicana, the Central Bank Governor, Wale Edun, and of course, the Minister of State for Finance, that's Dr. Doris Ozuka, Anita, at a particular meeting there. Whatever you guys are doing, let it just be the Nigerians that we be the better of these meetings. And government targets $75 million in floater waves, $250 million listing. And that's one of the African unicorns there, floater wave. Fintechs, government targets $75 million in floater waves, $250 million listing. And above that, you have the picture of eminent men and women there of Chief Mrs. Temitope Adeola, her husband, Chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Solomon Adeola, the Senate Leader, Opeyemi Bamidele, and of course, many other persons. The Chief Adekunle Alunga, his wife, Ajibola Adeoni of Ife Oba Enitan Ogunwusi, and of course, many other persons there where they were given, titles. They only turned 51 at the weekend, actually. Yeah, only Oba Enitan Ogunwusi or Chacha the second. Kabiyesi to him and wish him all the best. All right. So, away from that, senator, actress, wife accuse each other of drug abuse and violence. It was such, trending thing at the weekend when, do I say former Nollywood sweetheart right now?
She's still a Nollywood star.
Well, not star, I mean sweetheart, She started as a child actor.
Exactly.
So she won so many persons acting that role, and now she's a woman, a mother, a wife. There's been accusation on both sides with her husband, Senator Naiden Walker, from Delta State.
He later spoke up.
Well, Senator, actress, wife accuse each other of drug abuse. The man accusing the woman of drug abuse. And the woman accusing
the husband of violence. Quite interesting. She said in Ned Walker's, in her own words, she said in Ned Walker's house, she's nothing. But in her own house, she's a queen. And Ned Walker is saying that she's supposed to be on rehabilitation, that he actually gave her options either to undergo rehabilitation in Asokoro or in Jordan, outside Nigeria. But that she has drug suppliers, claiming some of her relatives are actually supplying her with drugs.
When situations turns this way, it becomes messy.
Absolutely,
will be
things that shouldn't have come out in the first place start coming out.
Because this particular couple, I remember there used to be envy of some people. Either overtly or overtly. Some would say, "Oh, you marry because of money."
Yes, and some people are even taunting her right now, saying that you said it's better to cry in the Bentley, and now you're crying on the floor.
It is what it is.
And there's a 40-year age difference between them. So majority of Nigerians believe that, hey, come on, you married this man because of his money.
That's their business, actually. It's what do they say again about age? They say it's
nothing. Exactly. Once you have money, it's nothing.
Some will say love conquers all. What has happened to that love now? Right now, I wish them all the best in their business. Free Kanu now protesters adamant despite police red alert and English maths compulsory for O level, says federal government. All right, so they're making a distinction to say the math thing that has been said that is not compulsory for art-related courses in the university is for admission purpose, but in your O level, and I think it's only okay that everybody just have it actually for whatever you are going to do in life, and it's basic actually. So, but then if you want in your O level, make sure you have mathematics. All right, so that's just the thing that is being said, so that everybody will not just drop it, and some will not even attend the exam.
Exactly, that's the point. They should have
to say, I don't need it because I want to be a lawyer. Actually, you still get to meet some things that has, that importance. And although you seek sack of NDDC board member, that will be all from the Nation.
Okay, and from the Nation, we move to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. On the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, Free Nnamdi Kanu protests. Police, NSCDC, NCOs warn Sowore others. Free Nnamdi Kanu protests. Police, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigerian Correctional Services warn Sowore others. You find details of that story on page 3. Below that, why we are protesting, coming from Sowore, U.S. Embassy issues security alerts. So much for the Free Nnamdi Kanu now protest, which is, scheduled to hold today in Abuja. Well, we'll give you more reports on that as the story unfolds. Away from that, still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, moving to the top street. Nigeria's manufacturing sector still struggling despite lowering inflation. Nigeria's manufacturing sector still struggling despite lowering inflation. Below that, we have a rider, 60% members in Northeast shut down operation in 2024. Why sector is shrinking? Coming from Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN. You can read up details of that story on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Away from that, Oyebanji is my greatest achievement. Coming from Fayemi, Oyebanji is my greatest achievement. Fayemi, quite interesting, like you say. You find details of that story on page 23. You know, politicians speak like this when things are going good. Wow. Don't be surprised. I mean, this same Fayoshe will come back later. Fayemi rather, when they start having issues. And so,
why are you wishing them bad?
No, I'm not wishing them. We know politics in Nigeria. I'm not wishing. I'm not wishing them. So for him to claim someone is his greatest achievement, I just hope Oyebanji believes in that himself. That's the point. So it should be coming from Oyebanji as well. He should at least try to, you know, validate that claim so that it won't be a one-sided claim. Yeah, you know, politicians now. Away from that, below that we have a rider. Commissions, is this Itakpa Ijelomu Road? I hope I got that correctly. You find details of that story on page 23. Below that, we have another story. NDLEA intercepts US, UK, DRC bound illicit drug consignments in frozen snails, electric bulbs. Now, this is interesting. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency intercepts US, UK, DRC-bound illicit drug consignments in frozen snails, electric bulbs. You'll find details of that story on page 27. People can be really ingenious. Drugs in frozen snails, electric bulbs. No, electric bulbs, maybe, you know, it should be quite irrational, you know, to smash a bulb to see whether there's something. But when they, you know, conceal drugs in electric bulbs, oh boy. Yeah, quite interesting. But thankfully, the NDLEA has been able to uncover this plot, and of course, the consignment has been seized. Away from that, Ibadan Convention, PDP crisis takes new turn as Ayaun petitions DSS, police, INEC, alleges forgery. You find details of that story on page 23. It's talking about the PDP National Secretary, Senator Samuel Ayaun, who is claiming that his signature was cloned and forged, and he wants the matter investigated. You can read up details of that story on page 23. Below that, under the health section, music could help ease pain from surgery. Illness, coming from scientists. Music could help ease pain from surgery. Illness, scientists. You find details of that story on page 4. The importance of music cannot be overemphasized. Of course, now they are claiming it could have some form of, you know, psychosomatic action on the patient. You might want to read up details of that story on page 4. Beer sector, operators, others panic over tax stamp system. Beer sector, operators, others panic over tax stamp system. You find details of that story on page 5. And below that, beer prices may go up. Beer prices may go up so much for those who drink beer. Congratulations, you might be paying more very soon. Below that, stakeholders raise alarm as drug abuse increases among secondary school students in southwest states. Stakeholders raise alarm as drug abuse increases among secondary school students in southwest states. You find details of that story on page 24. Quite unfortunate, you know, drug abuse cases increasing in southwest states. For me, before now, northern Nigeria has been plagued with drug abuse so much. If you read reports from the NDLEA, you will see that they've been having a lot of, you know, cases, struggles, you know, with drug abuse in northern Nigeria. But now, southwest Nigeria has become a concern as secondary school students are now, you know, taken to drug abuse, and this is quite unfortunate. That will be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And that also brings us to a conclusion of the newspaper review segment. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we dive into critical matters. Join us again.